What's up, Facebook? It's Pastor Paul. I'm sorry that my video might be a little fuzzy. I'm going to get ready to go get this 5:30 morning walk-in, waiting on my dad. He ain't here yet. So I'm sitting here just meditating on God's Word, and I want to deal with the issue of unanswered prayers. And this is what I've been learning some things, and God has been revealing some things to me about unanswered prayers. Is that there are sometimes that unanswered prayers is due because we're not ready for the things that God has for us. So it's not time for them yet. But there's other times I feel like, and God has been revealing to me, that sometimes it's our own fault of unanswered prayers. What do you mean, preacher? I know I'm not trying to come and shake somebody up this morning, but I come to let you know because God has been telling me some things. First thing that you have to understand is that prayer will only get you to the door. And it's just like this, is that if you come to somebody's house, you have to first walk to the door. But just because you walk to the door, and just because you knock on the door, does not necessarily mean that you're going to get in the house. Okay? So, thus far, you have to have attached to that prayer faith. And faith isn't knowing if God can do something. It's knowing that God will do something. And oftentimes we will plant in faith, but then turn around and pluck up what we just planted in faith, because what the devil comes, because the devil is a liar and a deceiver. He'll tell you that very thing that God is telling you yes, the devil will tell you no. But then also the very thing that God is telling you no on, the devil will tell you yes, just so that you'll come and pluck out the thing that you planted in faith. So what he's saying is that prayer will get you to the door. You get what I'm saying? It's good to get to the door, but if all you do is get to the door, you'll never get in. But then attached to that prayer, you have to have faith. If you have, check this out, if you have a key to my house, then that will allow you to unlock the door, but you still ain't got permission to come in my house yet. So you've done got to my door because of your prayer. You've been able to unlock my door because of faith. But here's the good part, is that if you want doors to open, if you want, just because the door is unlocked don't mean you got permission to enter. And that's a word for somebody. And I come to tell you lastly is that if you want the door to unlock, you got to learn how to walk in obedience. And so many times is that when you see the promises of God, there are premises that come before the promise. In other words, there are requirements that come before the reward. In other words, that there are some terms and conditions that has to be met before the blessing can come. So if you will go to the door with prayer, if you will unlock the door in faith, and if you will act in obedience when God says walk through the door, because so many times God is speaking to us in obedience, and he's saying, I need you to walk through this door. I need you to be faithful to me. I need you to be faithful to me regardless of the situation and circumstances, because the circumstances and situations will often try and seem to be to get you off the path of what you just prayed for. Check this out. So when Paul was bit by the viper in Acts chapter 28, what happened was that the viper was a situation and circumstance to affect an area that God was getting ready to use. And what I'm saying is that the enemy will often attack an area that you've been praying for and having faith in, because he realizes that if you get that thing that you've been praying for, that thing you've been standing in the faith for, and God answers it, and because of your obedience, he realizes that he will be in a world of trouble. But if he can get that thrown off, because either he messes up your prayer language, or he makes you doubt and pluck up the seed that you planted in faith. And then if he can get you to act in disobedience, he said, I can stop you from what God has for you. And I come to tell somebody that what God has for you is for you. And you have to pray, then have faith that the prayer will be answered. And you have to learn in the meantime, while you're waiting, is to continually to be faithful, to continually trust God, and continually to be obedient to his word and to his will. I know it ain't Monday morning. I'm up at this 5:30 hour. I got a word for you. Once again, y'all, I'm coming to campus September the 11th. I'm telling you, God has a word. God has a blessing. It's time for the awakening. It's Pastor Paul. Let's get this in this morning. God bless.